Hello, Mila. So today, what I really wanted to dive into is you may be wondering, okay, Michelle, you're always talking about money. You're always talking about attracting abundance. Like in the big scheme of things, there's so many more things that are more important than that. And I'm here to say that money is not the end all and be all. The reason I focus on money is I know without a shadow of doubt within my mind that if you're here, you have one of the biggest hearts of all the women in the world. Why do I say that? Because you're an entrepreneur, you're here to create something, and then your desire is then to impact more people, impact more lives for the better. And so I know that if I can help you in up leveling your money mindset, your relationship with money, how you circulate money, you're going to then, as a result of that, without a shadow of a doubt, it is going to transform the lives of so many people. It's going to transform your family's life. You're going to break the generational poverty, the generational scarcity mindset that has been carried on. And now it's arrived in you, or perhaps you're already a mother. Now it's going to be then adopted by your children. And so part of the work that we do inside of the Attract Abundance Academy, and why I'm so passionate about this work, is to help this cycle end with you. Help this cycle end with me. So I've done this personally for myself. So for those of you who are newer to this space, I came here as a refugee from Laos, which is a third world country, experienced poverty there in a third world country, and then experienced poverty here in the US. I remember spending after school and on weekends where we would literally be making these like little beanie babies where we're sewing in the little beady eyes and then filling it with sand and collecting cans just to make ends meet. I have a biological father who was in and out of our lives. So much of our financial well-being in that season was whatever my mom brought home. And she was working multiple jobs. English was her third language. She failed her driving test numerous times because in Laos, we drive on the opposite side. And then, she was trying to figure out like learning English, all that. And she did it all for us. And so for me, going into adulthood, I carried all those beliefs. I carried the lineage of scarcity mindset, the lineage of generational poverty in my bloodline. I carried a lot of her beliefs, the beliefs that she also inherited from her mom. So we have this generation then, and I had decided after doing all this emotional work and healing with myself that yes, we're going to release all the trauma. It's going to end with me. I healed that within our marriage, where my marriage with my husband is the most fruitful of our entire lineage, as far as our ability to effectively communicate with each other, our ability to have healing conversations with each other. And I bring all of that. And now has to do with money, like the resource of money. Why? Because you need that resource in order to exchange it for a service, in order to exchange it for a product or for your livelihood. And so that's the reason I'm so passionate about this work, because I've seen within my own life how transformative it is when that switch happens, when everything begins clicking, and where you have been living this version of yourself, your past version of yourself, who was stuck with scarcity mindset, inherited all these money trauma and money wounds, and you carried it into adulthood, and now you're passing it on to your children. And I said, enough is enough. No, it ends with me. That's not going to happen. That's not what's available for my children. And so part of that work that I really teach is then how do I change my mindset so that way my children can witness it in me? How do I change the conversations that they witness between myself and my husband around finances so they don't carry that into their own marriages once they become adults? And so all of this work is, for me, it's not just about money. Yes, it is, of course, money. And at the same time, it's so much more than that. It dives so much deeper than that. And that's the work I want to invite you into. That's the reason I share so much about money manifestation, your relationship with money or lack thereof. What is a lack thereof of your relationship with money is when you don't want to look at it. You don't want to take a look at the numbers. You don't want to steward it. And so what happens? You spend it. You don't want to look at it, right? So it's easier to be oblivious to it. I've been there. I'm not shaming you. I'm simply speaking truth into my past self. Because everything that you have experienced, as far as the mindset you have, the limited beliefs, chances are I probably have gone through it too. I believe those same limited beliefs as you do. And you have sisters inside of Attract Abundance Academy who feel the same way, who have doubt and shame around money, especially for those of you who, for the longest time, I remember for myself, I was a spender. Money comes in, and because I grew up with poverty, it was it was almost like that tug and pull. There was that part of me that then would just spend money, right? And all of a sudden I go into periods of like, oh, I have to hoard money because this is the last I'll ever have. So that scarcity mindset comes in. And so what I really teach is from this place that I've had to work on those wounds. I had to work on healing that for myself, which is there is nothing wrong with me. But in order for me to understand why it is that I spend, because I want you to think about it as a spender, has it actually been helpful when someone told you to stop spending money? I want you to think about that. Because if it was as easy as someone saying you need to stop spending money, and then you're like, oh my gosh, miraculous, I'm wealthy now. No, for my spenders, oftentimes what I find, especially with clients I work with, is that we have an emotional need that's not being met. I know when I get into periods where I'm like, oh, you know what? I think I want to go to Target today, or I want to shop at Marshall's today. It's always, and when there's no intention behind it, I know it's always because what is the emotional need that's not being met right now? If I can tune into that, if I can get so tuned in and so familiar with the patterns that I witness throughout my life, how I have been relating to money, and how my body reacts, right? The more we can get in tune with our body, it gives us clues as to, okay, this is what I'm feeling right now. That's the reason I believe so powerfully in the work that we do together. And part of that is I lead us into a body-based technique that incorporates emotional freedom technique, because I want you to be emotionally free. So that way, when you do circulate money and multiply it, is from this place of intention. That's very different from how like when I go through periods of feeling like where an emotional need is not being met for myself. I'm stressed out, whatever it is, life feels overwhelming. My default is I'm going to go here and get that dopamine hit, because if I buy something that's going to make me feel good for just that moment. Okay. That's very different. Instead, if I can be so tuned in to my body, it's like, okay, let's do an EFT top. Let's move my body through somatic movement. Clear the scarcity, whatever it is that I'm feeling right now, that funky energy, so I can release that, and then I can be intentional with the money that I have, the money I've been entrusted with, the money that is mine then to steward. So that's what I really work on for those of you who are very similar to me in that sense. And I truly believe your clients, no matter what it is that you support them in, oftentimes it's a past version of you, especially when you offer things, quote unquote, that are intangibles, where you're supporting people with emotional healing, or you're a life coach, or like a marriage coach, things along those lines, is oftentimes they're a past version of you. And so for me, a lot of my clients who enter into the space has that same tension where it's like, I keep spending money, right? Or they'll have big months and they're not able to hold it. That's the reason I talk about expanding your emotional capacity so you can hold more. Because by being able to hold more, you then rise up to become an energetic match for that number. And once you can hold that, then you rise up to the next level. And now you're an energetic match for this higher range of number, for even more money, more abundance. And so that is one of the work that we really do deeply together inside of Academy. I hope that I can support you inside of that. And if not, I have a ton of videos, resources on here that is designed to like really help you begin developing your relationship with money, begin really some of the mindfulness practices, having you think differently around your circumstances, around money. Because where we are, the physical manifestation that you're experiencing right now is a result of your belief system. This was something I learned from my mentor, Barry Kaufman. If I do not like the physical manifestation of where I am monetarily, financially, I can't have the same level of thinking, because the same level of thinking, the same beliefs I have, which then causes me to feel certain things, and as a result of that, I behave a certain way, is never going to allow me then to rise up to become the wealthy woman. And so when I notice the tightness within myself, instead of going back to past Michelle, the one who was scared, the one who was so fearful, the one who was holding tightly onto money, and was very fascinating, enter adulthood. And then when we went through that period then where, my son was just newly diagnosed, and we didn't have the best insurance. And so a lot of his therapy treatments, things of that nature, basically bankrupt us because we didn't have the resource of money to really be able to support that. And so I held in that season, I gripped tightly to money. I was so scared that it'll go away. And when I go back to that sensation within my body, I drop into that time period. What's very interesting is your body remembers, right? If you have not picked up the book, The Body Keeps a Score, such a powerful book on how your body stores trauma, stores periods where there's any type of wounds, things that have happened to you, and it's a core memory. And I remember that season. It's very interesting when I go back into that memory and I go even further back into memory of me as a child, it was the same sensations that my body felt. And so what I've had to do is I had to retrain my body. I have to move it differently because your body's already familiar with what scarcity feels like. And what I want to help you reprogram within your body is what abundance feels like. Because then from that place, you're able to make better decisions, not only in your personal life, but also in your professional life, especially if you're an entrepreneur and a business owner. Now you're able to make the decision as the wealthy woman now versus the past version of you who was still stuck in scarcity. Because the past version of you who was still stuck in scarcity, she is just focused on, oh, this is all we have, and this is all we're ever going to have. I can't make more than this. So you hoard, and you can't make informed, powerful decisions as a powerful woman, as the wealthy woman, when you're making decisions from your past self, because she has not served you. So the work we do here is helping you to rise up, to become the wealthy woman now. How do I make decisions from this place? How do I expand my emotional capacity so that way I can hold more, then I can rise up to my next level of abundance? Okay. And no matter where you are in business, there's always going to be that period of rising up. And as you're rising up, you're going to, I never made this much before. And then your body trying to protect you is going to go, okay, we got to hoard now. And it's like, no, no, no. We're going to be intentional. We're going to help you circulate that money as the wealthy woman. And so the work we do is both, yes, we do the mindset, we do the manifestation, and we do the work of more of the things that are practical. What does that look like within your business? What does that look like practically if you're in a 9-to-5 and you still want to build wealth, right? Because I want everything that I have like spent doing the work on myself, and in the thousands of clients, I've had the honor of really helping them to move through this and work through this. I want that for you too. I want this to be knowledge and an experience that you feel within your body, that you can clear it for your line, for your lineage, so it ends with you. And if you already have children, beautiful, because I started this work when I already had children. It is not too late. Oftentimes, we would hear people say, well, if I clear for myself, then after I have my kids, then it's been clear for their line. But in your mind, you may be thinking, but what if I already have children? Beautiful. It still works. It still works. I know it does because I have so many clients who are mothers, and I started that work when I already had kids. And what I teach you to do is How do we then have those conversations with our partners so our children are able to witness the conversations differently? How do we have healing conversations around money? How do we then see, hear, receive? Because the more you're aware of the message that you're receiving, the more you're then able to have the conversations with your children. Because our children pick up beliefs, not only from us, but also from society. And then when they receive it, one of the conversations I always have with them is, what do you think of that? It's like, okay. And they'll kind of share their perspective. So as you tune into that, what does it make you believe? What are some of the things that you think? Okay, is that something you want to think? Is that going to be helpful to you think? Or do you want to change it up? Notice how I'm taking everything that I'm learning and I'm bringing it to my children. And so for those of you who are mothers, the exact same work I teach you, you can now share with your children. And if you're going to be a mom, beautiful, you're going to clear for your lineage. And now you get to start off from them from day one, where they're able to have that abundance mindset, where they're able to not start where you were, where you're having to work through all like these limited beliefs. Yes, things will come up for them, but you're able to catch it early on. And so what a beautiful gift that is for your family, for your children, and for your relationship as well. And so that's part of the reason why I am so passionate about this work, is because I've seen how much it has transformed my life, my family's life, and how I've been able to clear that from my lineage. And now I'm going to talk to you about another reason why I'm so passionate about this work as well. Um, and this is super personal for me, is in that season, I'm going to bring you back to that season where our son was first newly diagnosed. And here I'm in Washington State. And I literally would hear people tell me, well, why doesn't your husband just get a job at Microsoft? Because at that time, Microsoft was the only place that offered incredible insurance that will cover therapy for autism. And how I knew what they were saying. Their mind went to, you have this problem, so just get a job there. You can't just get a job at Microsoft, especially if my husband is not, he doesn't do any type of Cisco networking or any type of software development or things of that nature. And so for me, it's like almost insulting to him. It's like, why doesn't your husband just get a job here so you can have insurance that will cover autism? So for us, we went through that stretch of time where we didn't have a lot of money. His therapies were not covered, by insurance. And so it basically bankrupted us. And give me a moment. And I remember being in that season. I was like, never would I ever allow myself again to have my family go through that. Because in that season, it was such a season of lack, such a season of scarcity, where all of our money went to our son. And even more money than we had. We like racked up our credit cards, all that. And for me, I'm so passionate about accessibility. Money gives you access. I remember talking to one of my coaches, and she was sharing her story. And for her, she went through, she has breast cancer. And she's able to have, what does money give her access? Access to what? To alternatives to the type of treatment you can get for cancer. For our son, we were limited to what was covered. Later on, we did get, a little bit better insurance. It still didn't cover a lot of things. But I would have friends who were able to do things like certain detoxes, putting them on specialized diet, getting them certain types of shots, like B12 shots, being able to do hyperbaric treatments for their son. A lot of them were able to be stay-at-home moms. And I even had someone tell me at the time, she said, part of that is I was able to sacrifice. We don't even go to movies, things like that. In my mind, I was like, when's the last time I've gone to a movie? And mind you, I was working. So money, I'm going to try to, I'm going to have to edit some of this because there's too many periods of silence. Money gives you access. Money gives you access. Money gives you access. And for me, for families like ours, even if you don't have a child with special needs, if something ever happens, God forbid, cancer, things of that nature, money gives you access. Without the resource of money, you are always limited. You will always be limited. I'm so passionate about the work I do because no matter your situation, your circumstance, I want you to know how to activate that part of you, the wealthy woman inside of you, so you can generate money, so you can be an energetic match for money, so you can circulate money. So that way, you not only get to experience an abundant business, but an abundant life. Your children are able to be in programs that will enrich their lives. In order for them to enroll in those programs, you need money. If you want your children, not everyone wants to, but if you want your children to go off to college at one of their dream schools, it requires what? The resource of money. So while we live in this 3D plane, I want you to know how the energy of money works, how money itself works, how you become an energetic match for money, how you circulate money, how you step into the wealthy woman now, no matter your situation, no matter your circumstance. And if anything ever happens, I want you to know that you can always dial that up so you can bring in more money. So I'm very passionate about this work. I believe firmly that if you do this work, I know without a shadow of a doubt, you're going to start stretching, practicing that muscle of attracting more, or being an energetic match for abundance. I know this because every single one of my clients, okay, I don't like making guarantees. And then I'm sure, like, disclaimer, right? No guarantees, of course. Uh, I have to say that. But all my clients have, they have attracted things like a check in the mail, like who receives check in the mails? They attracted things like getting a significant pay raise. They attracted things like getting a bonus. They attracted things like unexpected bonuses. I wanted to share those examples with you because if you so choose to decide, or if you love being in a 9 to 5, there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. This still works for you, even if you're not an entrepreneur. And for my entrepreneurs, what a beautiful way for you then to learn how to generate more money, generate more revenue streams for your business. Because I know being an entrepreneur, you want to make impact. And I also want to make sure that you're highly compensated for that you're getting paid well. And as an entrepreneur, you're thinking all the different ways that you can circulate money. And what a beautiful way then for money to come through for you. I believe firmly that abundance, money can come in both expected and unexpected ways. Okay. I have members inside of the academy who attracted things like full scholarships for school. And my mind is just so blown. I'm so grateful to do this work. And so this is the reason why I'm so passionate about money. And for those of you who are just like, oh, I don't want to be here, that's all you talk about. Amazing. There's so many other creators. Please go find them and follow them. I may not be for everyone, totally okay. But for those of you who are like, yes, she's speaking to my soul right now. That yes, for so long, you may have watched affirmations, that yes, for so long, you may have watched YouTube videos, you've done like the journaling, all of that. And then sometimes it works and then other times it's not. And you're like, what's going on? I don't understand. This is the work that we do together. I would love to be able to support you, love to coach you, really help begin rewiring your not only your mind, but your body for abundance, helping you to to expand your emotional capacity for you to hold more, experience more. Because I truly believe that you are called to an abundant life. John 10:10. Okay, so this has been long enough. I'm sure I'll probably have edited some parts of this out because there were so many long stretches of um of silence in there, or maybe I won't, just because, human is and life happens and sometimes emotions come up. But I want you to know that this is why I'm so passionate about money. So don't you dare for a second feel bad and start believing. Allow yourself to believe that money is bad, that you're greedy for wanting more. Because my firm belief is that you should want more. You are called to an abundant life. And how dare you allow yourself to believe those lies that you are only meant for scraps? Absolutely not. You're meant for abundant life. And if you're feeling led, I would love to support you inside of Attract Abundance Academy. All right, friends, until next time, I'll catch you in the next video.